अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। आज्ञानातिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरुब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। स्थावरं जङ्गमं व्याप्तं यत्किञ्चित् सचराचरं तत्परं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। बाबाजी व्यापि यत्सर्वं त्रैलोक्यं सचराचरं तत्परं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। सर्वश्रुतिशिरोरत्न विराजिता पदम्बुजः वेदान्तं भुजसूर्यो यत् तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। चैतन्य शाश्वत शान्तो व्योमातीतो निरञ्जनः बिन्दुनाद कलातीता तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ज्ञानशक्ति समारूढः तत्त्वमाला विभूषितः मुक्तिप्रदाता च तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अनेकजन्म सम्प्राप्ता कर्मबन्धविदायिने आत्मज्ञानप्रदानेन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। शोषणं भावसिन्धोश्च ज्ञापनं सारसम्पदः गुरुपादोदकं सम्यक् तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। न गुरोराधिकं तत्त्वं न गुरोराधिकं तपः तत्त्वज्ञानात् परं नास्ति तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। मानता श्रीजगन्नाथ मद्गुरु श्रीजगद्गुरु मदात्मा सर्वभूतात्मा तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरुरादिरनादीश गुरुपरमदेवतं गुरुपरात्परं नास्ति तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव।
मेरे गुरुदेव चरणों पर समान श्रद्धा के अर्पित है तेरे देना ये जो वही तुझको समर्पित है। न प्रीति प्रातिथि नहीं पूजा की शक्ति न प्रीति मेरा यह मन मेरा याथन मेरा गगन समारा पीता है मेरे गुरुदेव शरणों पार समान श्रद्धा की अर्पित है तुम्हारी ओबाबा में मेरे विचोरा हमारा पिता है मेरे गुरुदेव शरणों पार सुमना श्रद्धा की अर्पित है मेरे गुरुदेव
Shalom, Shishai Namaha, Om Vishamai Namaha, Om Bhagavatai Namaha, Om Sukshmatanave Namaha, Om Chinmayai Namaha, Om Gurumutaye Namaha, Om Sundarai Namaha, Om Surachanai Namaha, Om Sumukhai Namaha, Om Charvasai Namaha, Om Keshavai Namaha, Om Paramujaya Namaha, Om Madhagamanaya Namaha, Om Charvaradharine Namaha, Om Ramaya Namaha, Om Mandirastapakaya Namaha, Om Shivivamachakaya Namaha, Om Gayatri Achane Namaha, Om Marapasvikarakaya Namaha, Om Vishnupajaya Namaha, Om Namadharanaiti Mantropasakaya Namaha, Om Swaramayaya Namaha, Om Madhurakritaya Namaha, Om Krishna Sankirtana Lalupaya Namaha, Om Sutrapriyaya Namaha, Om Mitavashine Namaha, Om Vargine Namaha, Om Shitakala Vishwaradaya Namaha, Om Vratradharaya Namaha, Om Sarave Namaha, Om Jagatantaya Namaha, Om Sarvalokaitai Namaha, Om Bhaktapriyaya Namaha, Om Surdaya Namaha, Om Anukulaya Namaha, Om Neyaya Namaha, Om Sudarshanaya Namaha, Om Bhaktavatsalaya Namaha, Om Premamurtaye Namaha, Om Suvekshanaya Namaha, Om Pritivardhanaya Namaha, Om Swastidayakaya Namaha, Om Tarakaya Namaha, Om Anugrahaya Namaha, Om Vardhanaya Namaha, Om Architaya Namaha, Om Mardaya Namaha, Om Siddhipradaya Namaha, Om Janardhanaya Namaha, Om Manoharaya Namaha, Om Mahashaya Namaha, Om Siddheshwaraya Namaha, Om Bhasmabhushitaya Namaha, Om Atmalingaya Namaha, Om Lingashana Prasahaya Namaha, Om Siddhisaranaya Namaha, Om Anavaya Namaha, Om Omkarapasakaya Namaha, Om Sukshmaya Namaha, Om Vishokaya Namaha, Om Satvikaya Namaha, Om Samadarshine Namaha, Om Dakshaya Namaha, Om Achintaya Namaha, Om Niramkaraya Namaha, Om Nirmohaya Namaha, Om Avyakaya Namaha, Om Chitakradaya Namaha, Om Vinashaya Namaha, Om Svavashaya Namaha, Om Kushalaya Namaha, Om Kshamaya Namaha, Om Satyadharmaya Namaha, Om Nirvikalpaya Namaha, Om Viraktaya Namaha, Om Atindraya Namaha, Om Satyasandhaya Namaha, Om Pavitraya Namaha, Om Madhurasvabhavaya Namaha, Om Surandaraya Namaha, Om Nandanaya Namaha, Om Prasanatmane Namaha, Om Bhaktanidaye Namaha, Om Sakshaye Namaha, Om Samatmaye Namaha, Om Sadayogihe Namaha, Om Haraye Namaha, Om Sutapaye Namaha, Om Somyaya Namaha, Om Guyaya Namaha, Om Vimuktatmaya Namaha, Om Kaviraya Namaha, Om Guptaya Namaha, Om Adharamaya Namaha, Om Shrivasaya Namaha, Om Devaya Namaha, Shamagata Bhavavadakaya Namaha. Om Premavatara Sri Vishwananda Swami Namaha. Anto Deva Avantu no Yato Vishnu Vichakrame Pratilya Sapta Damabhi Iram Vishnu Vichakrame Tredani Dade Padam Samudamasya Pagum Sure Trihi Pada Vichakrame Vishnu Gopa Adavyaha Ato Dharmani Dharayane Vishnu Karmani Pashyata Yato Vritani Paspashe Indrasya Yujasakaha Tat Vishnu Paramam Padagum Sada Pashyanti Suryaha Divi Vashakshuratatam Tad Vipraso Vipanyamo Jagruvagum Sasamindate Vishnu Yat Paramam Padam. Om Premavataya Shridmahe Satguru Devaya Dhimahi Tano Vishwananda Prachodayate. Om Premavataya Shridmahe Satguru Devaya Dhimahi Tano Vishwananda Prachodayate. Om Premavataya Vidmahe Sadguru Devaya Dhimahi Tano Vishwananda Prachodayate. Suryakuti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Bhurvuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhurvuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhurvuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Krishna Vishnu Madhusudana Kaitapare Narayana Chitati Vikrama Chakrapane Vedyadi Sarchadara Sridhara Vasudeva Gopala Krishna Haraye Tava Suprabhatam Shri Rukmini Shabhavanasha Hare Murare Radesha Gopesha Surupa Brahmadi Vandya Shri Vargadashara Vaikunta Pate Bhuvane Kamurte Gopala Deva Haraye Tava Suprabhatam Meena Krite Kamatarupa Varaha Murte Devi Kramaya Guhane Rama Rama Shri Rama Krishna Yadunandana Kalki Rupa Gopala Krishna Haraye Tava Suprabhatam Govinda Madhava Gopijana Samrita Dina Bando Gopijana Priyaraye Tava Suprabhatam Shirabhishai Bhujagadi Patapashai Sadbhaktarit Sadanashai Zamangashai Shri Gopavama Mridutalpa Sukadishai Gopa Vallabharare Tava Suprabhatam Shri Kashyapatri Sukanarada Kotamadi Brahma Shri Sangamani Sangava Bharatesho Tishtanti Devatava Darshana Bhagya Heto Gopala Sekadaraye Tava Suprabhatam Mandara Chari Tulasida Malika Jahe Maryani Anjali Pute Samudaharanti Tishtanti Dvapavadadara Kale Munindraha Radha Manora Haraye Tava Suprabhatam Vedatrayam Patati Gotama Kana Guyaha Gayanti Satpuna Gano Varada Savargaha Sankirayanti Tava Nama Kadari Sheshaha Shri Naradari Rishaya Tava Suprabhatam Govardhanodharana Gopa Kishora Gopa Gopijanamrita Suvesha Bhavati Pota Trilokya Mohana Sumangala Divya Deha Shri Rukminisha Varada Tava Suprabhatam Shri Vatsa China Sharanagata Parijata Bhaktati Vanjana Kripakara Dina Bandhu Dityanta Gayati Jana Priya Divya Rupa Shri Nanda Gopatanaya Tava Suprabhatam Padmaksha Padma Mukha Padmadhara Prameya Padmalaya Shrarita Padma Nivasa Shori Padmo Bhavati Surasevita Pada Padma Padmadinata Haraye Tava Suprabhatam Vrindata Levi Haranaya Mahendra Vandya Kandarpadarpa Haratinya Sudesha Rupa Chandranayana Siddha Chandana Lipna Deha Govinda Yadavaraye Tava Suprabhatam Shri Nanda Nandana Yashoda Kumara Dhira Mayanga Dina Davichona Supushpahara Nilambudara Surarina Radhamahara Gopala Deva Haraye Tava Suprabhatam Shri Varshi Jambavati Satya Sukanti Bhadra Shri Mitra Vinda Divasha Prabhu Putrika Dyahe Tishtanti Divya Pavamita Vasevanardam Gopi Manapli Haraye Tava Suprabhatam Shri Krishna Ashrita Ananda Mukunda Shori Radha Manohara Janardana Chakravali Namani Divya Munayurna Ishambhadanti Brahmi Murta Samaye Tava Suprabhatam Shri Krishna Suprabhatam Ye Padati Anishan Bhuri Krita Mahapapa Shri Krishna Grahituka Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachitananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam Govindamadi Purushantamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purushantamaham Bhajami Chintamani Prakara Samasaka Pavresha Laksharateshu Suravira Pipalayanta Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Samprama Sevya Mayam Govindamadi Purushantamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purushantamaham कन्दर्पकोटिकमनीय विशेषशोभाम् गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि आलोलचन्द्रकलसावनमाल्यवंशि रत्नाङ्गदा प्रणयकेलिकलाविलासम् श्यामां त्रिभङ्गवलनिन्यतप्रकाशम् गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि अज्ञानि यस्य सकलेन्द्रियवृत्तिमन्ति पश्यन्ति पान्ति कलयन्ति चिरं जगन्ति आनन्दजीमय सदुज्ज्वलविग्रहस्य गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि अद्वैतमच्युतमनोविमलन्तरूपम् आद्यां पुराणपुरुषं नवयौवनं च वेदेषु दुर्लभमधुरममात्मभक्तो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि पातस्तु कोटिशतवात्सरसम्प्रगाम्ये वायोरतापि मनसो मुनिपुङ्गवाः सोऽभ्यस्ति यात्रपथसिन्यविचिन्त्य भवे गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि एकोऽभ्यसोमचरितुं च गणन्तकोटिं यक्षक्तिरस्त च गणन्तजयायनन्तः अनन्तरस्तपरमानुजयन्तरस्रं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि यद्भावभावितधियो मनुजस्तथैव सम्प्रायरूपमहिमा सदया सभूषः सुक्तेयमेव निगमा प्रतितस्तुवन्ति गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि आनन्दचिन्मय रसाप्रतिभाविताभिः ताभिय एव निजरूपतया कलाभिः गोलोक एव नगसदखिलात्मगोतो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि प्रेमञ्जनाच्युतिरभक्तिविलोचनेन सन्तैः सदैव हृदयेषु विलोकयन्ति यं श्यामसुन्दरमचिन्त्य गुणस्वरूपं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि रामादिमूर्तिशुकलानि अमेन तिष्ठं नानावतारमकरो भुवनेषु किन्तु कृष्ण स्वयं समभवत् परमपुमायो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि यस्य प्रभा प्रभवतो जगदन्तकोटि कोटिष्वशेषवसुधादिविभूतिभिः तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमनन्तमशेषभूतं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि माया हि यस्य जगदन्तसदानसूत्रे त्रिपुण्यताद्विषयवेदवितयमाना सद्भावरं विपरसद्भविशूरसत्त्वं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि आनन्दचिन्मय रसात्मकया मनेषु यात्रादीनां प्रतिपदा स्मरतामुपेत लीलायितैर्मुगदनीयजनाजरास्र गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि गोलोकनामिनि जगन्नि कले च तस्य देवी महेश हरिदासुतेषु तेषु ते प्रभावनि जया विगताश्च येन गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि सृष्टिस्थितिप्रलयसाधनशक्तिरेका च येन यस्य भुवनानि विवर्तदुर्गा लोचानुरूपमपि यस्य च चेष्टते सा गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami. Shiram yatam tata vivikaravisha yoga. Sanjayate naitata kritikasyeto. Yasham bhutam api tata samakurta karya. Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami. Dipachireva isha shantanam praveja. Dipayate vivita hetu samana dharma. Yastadrugeva isha vishnutaya vibhati. Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami. Yakaranavakajavi pavashatya yoga. Nidramananda jagananda saroma kuva. Adhara shakti mavalamya malasamudram. Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami. Yasveka nishvasita kala matavalamya. Jivanti loma vilaja jaganandanata. Vishnu mahansaya yasya kala vishesho. Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami. Vasanyatashva sakaleshu nijeshu teja. Shriyamdiya pratakayata gatavahara. Ramaya isya jagananda vidanakarta. Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami. Yatpada bhava yugam vinidaya koma. Vande pranama samaya saganadiraja. Vignaviham tumalayasya jagatrayasya. Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami. Agni mahita ganaham bumarudishascha. Kalastadatma manasita jagatrayaya. Yasma bhavanti vibhavanti vishanti yamcha. Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami. Yachakshuresha savita sakala grahanam. Raja samasta suramurti ashesha tejaham. Ashyadhyana brahmati samvrita kala chadro. Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami. Taroda pata nichaya shrutayastapamsi. Ramanikita patagavadayascha jiva. Yadata matra vibhava prakata prabhava. Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami. Yasindra gopa matavinda mahosakarma. Bandana rupa paravacha mamatanoti. Karmani nidahati kintu cha bhakti bhajam. Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami. Yakroda kama sahaja pramanaya vidi. Vatsalya yoga guru gora raselya bhava. Sanchita tasya sadachintanuma purete. Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachitananda Vigraha Anadiradi Govinda Sarvakarana Karya Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamam bhajami.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Gurudev. So it is from Bhagavatam 3:3-4, and it is from an amazing chapter, which, although is it in Canto 3 and not in 10, where is all the stories of Krishna, yet here it already lists all the victories of Lord Krishna. And this morning when I looked through the verses, which one to take, because one is better than the other. And it reminded me really of our Guruji, how he dances supremely through the world, and which story is better than the other. So I found a verse which is in connection with Neela Devi. So she's maybe one of the most, or the lesser known, maybe not obscure, but lesser known Devis as consorts of Lord Narayana. So we don't know when did she appear. She appeared, as it says here in the Bhagavatam, as part of Krishna's group of first wives. And it is a nice story connected to it. We have another account of King Kulashekar, whose Mukunda Mala Stotram we chant in the evening. His daughter was also an incarnation of Neela Devi. By the way, he gave his daughter, upon his move to Sri Rangam, he gave his daughter to Ranganath in marriage also. So apart from these two stories, we don't really know who is Neela Devi. Guruji, once he brought down his private murti here and he said Neela Devi is especially the aspect of the mother giving devotion. And let's just qualify at this point what is devotion. So devotion is not emotion, but devotion is, let's say, you direct your thoughts into one particular point, and that is you knowing the Supreme Lord. So it is the purposeful and the intentional drive of our thoughts towards the image of the feet of the Lord. Once that happens, all your focus, all your purpose, all your activities, inside and outside, they flow towards Him. More and more, non-stop. So that is devotion. Devotion is not the one-time spontaneous outburst of maybe a deep ecstatic feeling that is there, but a very important feature of devotion is that it's constant, and that it is trained during every day of the life that is given to us. So that when we die, or even before, desirably, we are so much rooted and it becomes so normal for us that in the process of conversion, you dropping the material body, and hopefully you get the spiritual body, and you assume that permanent identity of what we call a Haridasa. It is the servant of Lord Krishna. Yeah, having said that, let me go into the verse. Kakutmino viddanaso damitva swayam vare naknyaditim muvaha tat bhaknananam apigrityato gnyan jagikshata shastra bhritasva shastraihi. Now here's how he won Neela Devi as his wife. And actually it happened when he was still a kid. So it is said that where Krishna lived, actually this little account here, the translation that I'm going to read, it happened at an age when he could not marry. Even in India at that time, it was okay. Let's say parents would arrange very young children, and say later when they grow up, that means when they are like teenagers, then they can marry. Yeah, it's by parents arranging it when the child is not even in any thoughts of becoming adult. No? So, and this is at the age of maybe 3 or 4 when Krishna was roaming around in Vrindavan. So the verse says, by subduing 7 bulls whose noses were not pierced, the Lord achieved the hand of Princess Nyagniti in the open competition to select her bridegroom. Although the Lord was victorious, his competitors asked the hand of the princess and thus were fought by the Lord. Well equipped with weapons, the Lord killed or wounded all of them, but he himself was not hurt. So here it sounds like as if Krishna, he was already in the age of being, let's say, a king, and he would have armies who come with weapons. There were other competitor kings, etc. But it's different ways how to tell the story, and how I learned it primarily is he was a young boy, and there was a farmer in the village of Vrindavan. And the bulls, they had not a disease, but they were more ferocious, more wild than the animals normally would be. And of course, he also had a beautiful daughter. And then he said, if you can heal my bulls, then I will give you my daughter later in marriage. Yeah. And Krishna said, no problem, let's help the person. So he somehow managed to tame these 7 ferocious bulls. I mean, you standing in front of a grown bull and then seeing a 3 to 4 year old little boy, of course there was doubt. And then he managed to tame them, he managed to bind them, he managed to bring them home, and he managed to change their behavior. And then obviously the farmer said, here, now you can have the hand of my daughter. And that daughter, here it is said her name was Nagnijiti. And she is also known in the south of India as Napinai. So this one here, Nagniti, the Sanskrit name, the southern name of Napinai, and the consort name of Nila Devi, that is the same. Yeah. So here we are speaking of an incarnation of the wife of the Lord, here as the daughter of the farmer, and he took her hand. Yeah. Now, what I want to talk about is especially the last part. Well equipped with weapons, the Lord killed or wounded all of them, but he himself was not hurt. So I was just impressed by that part because it reminded me how the Lord, he does not lose. And still us here from Europe or any Western or Catholic culture or Protestant culture, as we have spent probably many lives in non-Hindu religion, still the image of weakness or still the image of God might lose on the cross at the end. It might not be actively, but in a subconscious way, drive our belief to who is God. Yeah, that he also may have weaknesses, that he gave himself for the love of us, that he took the sins upon him. And if you go to many churches, then of course the Jesus on the cross is worshipped rather than the Jesus of the cross. Yeah, and that has a very strong subconscious effect of how you craft your relationship with who we call here the Supreme Lord. Yeah, so when you listen such story of Lord Krishna, and as said in that chapter, there were all the victories listed of what he did, you know. This is when we have to know that we have to let go of our weaknesses at some point also. Yeah, because this type of relationship of crafting your relationship with Narayana Krishna, it is a little bit of a different image of who is God. First of all, it is a very personal, challenging relationship. So Krishna is not the person who comes into your life and says everything is good. We have the image of him kicking the milk pots, drawing the attention upon him, saying, focus on me, etc. So of course Jesus, he was also not, let's say, mainstream when he lived. He also kicked the pots very much. And just to set it clear, it was not the people then who drove him to the cross by their power, but he, by his power, he decided to accept it. So it could, by his will, have been otherwise. It's not a sign of weakness. But his message was a different one. The message was, it's a very compassionate Lord. And the point I want to make is that Krishna is the not only compassionate Lord, but is the supreme Lord, in a way that all these multifaceted aspects of love, they are there. And one aspect of love, it is humble, but also in the end it always wins. Yeah? And here he doesn't spare to show that he will win. So, one of my jobs here is to work with people a little bit, and you see that all of us, we carry inside of us all the aspects that are not actually beneficial for becoming a hero, let's say, in the relationship with Lord Krishna, with Lord Narayana. Because at some point, we must move out of our own weaknesses. And Guruji, of course, very much, he goes in line with that. And we might interpret it sometimes as somebody is maybe a little bit overly dominant or a little bit too focused in their behavior. But actually, I would say it is coming from that focus on Krishna. When you focus on Krishna or Guruji, you become like Krishna, you become more like Guruji. Yeah? And that is a force, that is a strength which comes through, which, as it says here in the verse, it just vanquishes all the enemies. The enemies are attachment, the enemies are depression. I like to be sad. I like to tell my story of me being a victim and only the other person is strong. And there's many stories like this that we like to play each day in our private recorder. And like this, many, many days, they move by and suddenly you have run over many years and you ask yourself, have you really crafted your relationship with Guruji? Have you really picked up the message of you cultivating that focus on him that make you really strong and a divine person? Because let's be honest about it, this is the goal of this path, that you or we become a saint. Yeah, and then also we have immediately maybe the image of, okay, who is a saint? What is a saint? Yeah. Again, let's completely recycle our previous impression of what is a saint, and let's accept Guruji's sketch, his painting of who is a saint. A saint is somebody who is grounded. A saint is somebody who has that total focus, who never forgets that God is first. And when you look around and you say the priority list of people, where is God there? Guruji says it's maybe on place number 10, if God at all is on that shopping list. Yeah. So the saints, they're not like this. God is always first. Yeah. And of course, the saints, they're always engaged in their, very often, simple service, embedded in a very challenging life. For example, looking at the Vital saints, or the, there's just a whole galaxy of Hindu saints. If you go to the museum here, for example, they have all led, but not only led, but they have all mastered a very challenging life. And they did it just by focusing on the Lord, and them becoming saints meant they reached that level of love and that level of bliss inside where you suddenly start to master your life. Before it was all suffering and effort and failing and depression and jealousy of the other person. But then with that focus on Krishna, what they all have achieved is to actually become like Krishna and to dance a little bit around the world, to see that things come together in an effortless way, that they have found their potential, their part in this huge game, and that things are flowing forward, and that they can let go of, let's say, the depressive version of themselves, and that they can accept much more of them. Okay, I can be happy. Just decide to be happy. I won't complain anymore. And this led me to believe in another thing. So a big disclaimer now when I say I will talk a little bit about divorce, But a big, big, big disclaimer here that whoever is in such a scenario of whoever listens to this satsang, I don't mean worldly divorce. And I don't talk in relation to whatever is going on in your lives at all. But what I want to talk about is how I experience my quote-unquote divorce from Maya. Because in the end, the essence of Guruji's teaching is there's three entities that are always and eternal. That is Bhagavan, yeah, it's him. Then it's us, Jiva, the souls. Infinitely many souls, each one different, like diamonds on a plate. Each one is shiny, but each one has their own distinctive shape. And then the third entity is that relationship in between, which also is eternal and it cannot be broken. And it leads us to believe, let's say, on which level do you want to live? Okay, when we know we don't die, really, when we have to live always, and when we do exist eternally, the question is, okay, but in which place? Do I want to live here or do I want to live there? Do I want to live in this neighborhood or do I want to live in that neighborhood? And of course, Guruji wants that we all live in the neighborhood of what is called Vaikuntha. It is the highest level of potential, the highest level of bliss that you can live in inside of yourself. No? So this is why he wants to drive us. And he says the way there is, as also in the verse it shows, the focus on me, focus on Krishna, focus on the Guru. Yeah, and you can only do that when you let go of Maya, because these are these. It is a decision. Let's say, either you're vegetarian or you're not. You know? Either you decide to be happy or you don't. You know? Either you decide to quit smoking or you don't. Yeah, it's not that we can't, it's just that we don't want. In deep down, you don't want. Yeah? And like this, do we want to divorce from Maya? No, we don't. And I'm saying, and I'm experiencing my own divorce with Maya, of how difficult it is to let go of her, if you will. Yeah? Because I see the more I actually try to turn to God, the stronger and the more temptation it becomes. Yeah? The more I discover actually to search for the love inside of me, the more dirt I have to face in order to reach that love. And then suddenly I discover maybe I'm not a bhakta. Maybe I'm not a devotee even of God, but maybe I just like outside things. Yeah? Maybe I just like money, glamour, consumerism, wasting time, focus on other things, watching TV, like a luxury life, all of these grand ideas, you know. And the more I try to reach Bhagavan inside of me, or the more I focus on the service or doing my sadhana properly, the more these things come. And the more actually I show to Maya, you know what, actually I would like to shift my focus away from you to Bhagavan. And in that moment, like in a divorce, I don't know how many of you have been through a divorce, but it is in a way that you have strong moments and you have weak moments. And in the strong moments you say, no, it makes sense, we have done this for many, many years, we have both come to the conclusion, let's move on, and we separate. And you strongly and decisively move on, and you resist temptations of falling back and about missing the old times, about getting and ending up again in bed together. Yeah, but this is exactly how it is with Maya. Then the more we decide to actually, we have found our new partner, Bhagavan. Yeah, we have decided, I want to be a Haridasa. I want to attain that never stopping, permanent bliss inside of me, not like a fleeting happiness with a price tag of a lot of unhappiness. No, I want to attain that permanent bliss inside of me, then at that moment you turn away from Maya. The moment you turn away from Maya, she will say, actually it was such a good time with both of us. Can't we try it one more time? And then there are these moments when I feel, yeah, actually it was good. It was a good time. I wouldn't go as far as let's try it once more, but it is like this. And she's provoking the strong moments and the weak moments out of us. And then, sometimes when I give satsang, I pull out a card from the Krishna, the Bhagavad Gita card deck. And this morning I pulled out the verse, I think it's 925, which is like, which deity are you focusing on? Are you really focusing on Bhagavan? And most of us, by fact, we don't. We say we would like to, but we have no clue what it means. Yeah, because honestly, there's all of this big landscape of other things that we want inside, and I think the best remedy is to just accept this. It's like this. The best remedy is not to say, "Oh, I'm a devotee," because a devotee means that you have really focused on Bhagavan. I think what really helped me, obviously, is also to accept that it's not like that. To accept that actually there's all of these other tendencies and desires inside of me, and to accept it, it led to these things more and more, they dissolve, they let go. But to say, no, I don't have it, and to fake, I am a devotee of Bhagavan, I'm 100% focused, is just not true. It's just not true. And so, in part of that journey of how I try to, how I will divorce from Maya, is that recently I engaged, in watching videos about the good old times with Maya, and then I took a deep dive into it, and I really liked it. So what did I watch? I watched YouTube videos about luxury restaurants. I worked in the travel industry. I traveled in my younger years a lot. And there it was, like how to be in elegant restaurants in an elegant environment, dressed elegantly, having all kinds of elegant, disgusting food that will increase your karmic account. And I watched these videos and I saw, man, these people, they really design the restaurants like temples. I don't know now, the French Country Week or Swiss also, they have the Michelin, 3 étoiles. Yeah, it resonates. So, and these places are designed like temples. And if you look at the menu with the price tag also, I mean, it is quite expensive. And so this was the first section. Then I watched videos about, luxury hotels, the getaways of the world, city hideaways, all of this stuff. 5-star, what have you, what I Googled, what's the best 25 hotels in the world, and I looked at the pictures and wow, this is amazing. It's so, and at the same time also I let go of it and say, man, this is so absurd. It is perverted when, excuse me, Dubai, but hotels also designed like temples. And I watched these videos and I said, what deity are you actually worshipping? Like, we are not making God as God, but here we are making restaurants as God. Here we are making hotels as God. And literally, they're like so opulently designed like temples. It is insane. It has nothing to do with putting food in the body anymore. It has nothing to do with finding a place to sleep anymore. It's just perverted because you are flipping worship to Krishna. You don't make God as God, but you're making restaurants or food, consumerism, hotel, your image of being a cool guy, all of that you're making your deity. So it's not that easy to just say, I have my murti from the shop on the altar and I am having Krishna as my deity. No, it is a whole inside story of what you're telling yourself. And it should end up being at the feet of the Lord, your Haridasa, your Krishna Dasa, when you really have that inside focus. Yeah, So maybe as an inspiration, and Neela Devi, she is that one, she gives that focus on the Lord. Krishna is that one, I think, who very graciously and helps everyone to go there. But to go there, we have to really move ourselves, and maybe it helps just look in our lives of what deity we are actually worshipping. And okay, I think as a temporary thing, when you really turn towards Krishna, divorcing from Maya, then that come up as a temporary thing. But if it is not a temporary thing, also I often say the story, there was a guy living in my apartment block, and he said football, like soccer, that's his religion. On Sundays he would go to the stadium, and that was his temple. He was very frank about it. And as sweet as it might sound, as dangerous it is at the same time. Yeah. So maybe let's look in an accepting, in a non-judging way of what you have, because I think the judgment in Bhakti Marga is far too high. Like, you should be like that, this you have to do like this, and you always think that you know why the people are doing it, except of shutting up and trusting that they know what they do. So I think we will go there, the Sangha growing up, but at the moment it's not like this. And what helps is to not wanting to change. I must change. I'm so bad. Boom, boom. I have to change. I must change my life. I must become the best devotee of all. No, what helps is actually to accept that we are not, and that we are as we are, and that we carry all these things inside, and then they can go. When it is a feeling of that you actually really are like this, and then from there we can move on. And then that is really without judgment. So if you can do that, or even if the people around you can do that, then it's a great step of actually becoming a real devotee. Because then you can look these things in the eyes, you can even take it a little bit humorously or sportively, that whatever you carry inside of you, it's not you in the end, but it's on that way to your soul. And the soul is, according to Guruji, it is Satchidananda, it is just love. So I think nobody of us, we really have to be ashamed of who you are. It's just that you properly allocate where do you belong. Yeah? Jai Gurudev.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Narari Rupa Jaya Jagadish Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Nrsimhadev, 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 Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev, 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 Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Bhakta Swarupa, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Bhakta Swarupa, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Sri Vishwananda Gurudev, Sri Vishwananda Gurudev, 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 Sri Vishwananda Gurudev, Vishwananda Gurudev, 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 Sri Vishwananda Gurudev, Gurudev, Sri Vishwananda Gurudev. Shri Vishwananda, Om Jaya Sadguru. Shri Vishwananda, Om Jaya Sadguru. Vishwananda, Om Jaya Sadguru. Vishwananda, Om Jaya Sadguru. Jaya Guru Deva Guru, Om Namo Narayanaya. 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 Om Narayanaya. Om Narayanaya. Om Namo Namo. Om Namo Namo. Om Narayanaya. Om Narayanaya. Om Namo Namo. Om Namo Namo. Shri Vishwananda, Om Jaya Sadguru. Vishwananda, Om Jaya Sadguru. Vishwananda, Om Jaya Sadguru. Vishwananda, Om Jaya Sadguru. Jaya Guru Deva Guru, Om Namo Narayanaya. 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 Om Narayanaya. Om Narayanaya. Om Namo Namo. Om Namo Namo. Om Narayanaya. Om Narayanaya. Om Namo Namo. Om Namo Namo. Shri Vishwananda, Om Jaya Sadguru. Vishwananda, Om Jaya Sadguru. Vishwananda, Om Jaya Sadguru. Vishwananda, Om Jaya Sadguru. Jaya Guru Deva Guru, Om Namo Narayanaya. 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 Jai Janavallabhaya Paraya Paramapurushaya Parakarma Mantra Yantra Tantra Oshadari Shastrani Samarai Samarai Mrityur Mochaya Mochaya Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaya Dipte Jvala Pritai Sarvadesho Manampat Parashmaye Parabrahmane Parajyotishe Swaha Om Shanti 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 Shri Gurubhyo Namaha